Hello Raspberry Rockers, and welcome back to Raspberry Rock, and I'm your host, Russell. So this is a video that's been a couple of months in the making. I think when I started there was still ice on the pond, and you can probably see that in the early videos. But it's taken me this long, and it's kind of an indoor rainy project, which is kind of what's going on right now. It's raining, it's miserable outside, and I tend to stay inside and do projects inside. And this is one of them, the railing for the stairs. I had several problems doing this. It almost didn't get done. I almost said screw it a few times. But as you can see, it got done. And there's something else here that I'm going to show you near the end of the video that I just finished today. So stick along and I'll show you everything like usual. Well, not everything. Hey everyone, welcome back to Raspberry Rock. I'm your host, Russell. Anyway, it's a kind of a crappy day. It's cold. It's about 5 degrees Celsius, 41, 42 Fahrenheit. It's supposed to rain the rest of today. But in fact, it's supposed to start raining already. We're supposed to get 30 to 40 millimeters of rain. I think that's probably a couple of inches. I don't want to do anything outside when it's raining that much and it's this cold. But what I thought I would do is actually, something I've been meaning to do for a while, is work on the railing for the stairs that I built. The stairs are a little kind of bouncy, and I think a railing would be really helpful. I've never done this sort of thing before. I want to use natural pieces like this for the what are they called? Spindles? I don't know what they're called. The uprights? Like Shawn James did in a video recently, when he was making railing for his upstairs loft. So I want to do the same thing. I've never done this sort of thing before. I have no idea what I'm doing. But we're going to give it a shot. Let me take you inside and I'll show you what you're looking at. What we're looking at? What I'm looking at? What you're looking at? What are we looking at, Russell? So I brought these pieces that I have here. This one and the one I just showed you outside. These are from maples that I cut down last year. Alongside of the trail, they'd kind of fallen over and I had to cut them out of the way. So they should be fairly dry by now. Anyway, I was thinking of using this one for the uprights, but it's a little too thick for that. But what I'm thinking is maybe I can use it for the handrail. Question, would it be long enough? That's the first question. I think it is. I don't need to start right on the first step here. You can't really see the first step. I don't need to start right on the first step because we're not grabbing down there when we start. In fact, our hand's going to be up here. So I could even probably start on the third step. And that would give me enough length up there to go to the top step. The only thing I got to worry about is when this goes up, that the railing doesn't hit the platform up there. And that's it. The one thing Shawn James did in his video is he split his piece down the middle, which gave him a nice flat surface to put the uprights into. I've never done anything like that before. I'm not even sure I could do it. Maybe I'll watch that video again. We'll see how he did that. But that's kind of the idea. So this will be something like this. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. But we probably shouldn't be filming this, but this is what I do. I film crap like this. Okay, join me. And it's raining. I'm going to start with 20-inch pieces and see where that gets me. I don't know, there's going to be a bit at the end where I'm going to carve down, of course. Steady. Okay, so with my impromptu system here, what do I call this? Vice grip system. Actually holds the wood really well. So I got one done. I carved it down to about 1 inch across, and then I drilled a hole in here about 1.5 inches. And that seems to be okay. I don't know how. I'll probably just glue it in when I make the final, when I finally put it in place. Okay. So that's not too bad. Not bad for my first whittling job. So I'm going to try and do the same thing with this piece, and we'll see how it goes. The stairs move a lot though, unfortunately. But otherwise, this is a really good spot to be doing this. And yeah, it's raining. So I've got 2 sticks sort of done, and I'm working on my third here. And this one came out just a little too narrow. I guess this stick is much narrower than the other pieces. So I put an X on it. So wherever I drill the hole for that, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. I've been drilling 1.25 inch holes in the boards, not all the way through, just into them, like 1 inch or so. But this one I'll just drill 1 inch. But let's take a look here. Whoops! It's just sitting in there right now. But this piece of wood is definitely going to be long enough if I only go to the 3rd step down there, and I only go. I'm not going right to the top step there. I'll just go to the 2nd step here. You see that? But yeah, I think that's going to work fine. Still not sure how I'm going to split this. Probably just start wedging some axes in and give it a try. Like usual. Because that's my jam. It's a new day. I worked till about 7 last night and I got really tired, so I stopped. Anyway, I've got 8 pieces done here. I've kind of made sure that they all fit nicely in this one hole that I've drilled. Well, nicely. Nice and tight. There's only one that's, I think it's this one that's a 1.25 inch hole is going to be too big for, maybe. That side is good. Must be this side. Yeah, this side. So I can try drilling like a 1 inch hole maybe, and I'll see if it fits. 8 pieces is going to start on this board. Can you see that? No, you can't. 3rd board up and ending up the 2nd board from the top. I think it's going to be a little short for when you start at the top coming down. It's going to be a long reach down to grab it. But eventually there should be an upright on the platform itself going to the ceiling. So you'll be able to hang on to that as you go down the stairs and then switch to the railing. So I'm going to drill these holes. I'm going to figure out a way to make sure that the holes are all the same depth. I'll probably just put tape on my drill. Let me grab that here. Put some tape on my bits so that I make sure that I only go a certain distance. Measure it off nicely. This was a lot of work carving this down, but I didn't actually mind it. It's not like you're running a loud tool, and I hate loud tools. Just clamping them here and just kind of working it down. I learned very quickly to, well, I learned way too late that I should have made sure that there was no knots near the end, so no branches coming out near the ends, because where there are, it's really hard to work through. And in fact, I gave up on one It's outside. I gave up on one because there was a great big knot right there, and I couldn't work through it. So yeah, so I'm gonna do some drilling here. Got my holes drilled. I'm thinking about how I want to attach these in here. Glue was my first choice, and I think it really is the best option. But I don't know that I want to make it so permanent just yet, in case I want to take it apart for some reason. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to drill through these holes. Like these drill bits leave a little pilot hole in the center. So it's easy to find where the center is. I'm going to drill down so they can find the right spot down here. And then I'll put a screw up right in the middle and right into the pole, the upright, the spin. What the hell are they called? I don't know what they're called. I think and that'll hold it in place for now until I decide that it's going to be permanent, and then I can come back and just glue them in. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to try and split this. It's full of knots too. I have no idea. This probably is not going to work. But I've got a plethora of axes and wedges here. A veritable cornucopia of axes and wedges. A couple of clamps. A couple of dogs. So, yeah, I'm going to give this a shot, and it's probably going to be ruined, and then I'll be out looking for another piece of wood that I can use. A piece of birch would be nice. Like, I see a birch tree over there that's dead. Let's try this. We'll see how it works. I know. I do love you. I do love you. It's cold. Get my mitts. Need to be on something harder. This is just gonna go up and down. Yeah, just shaking up and down. I think Thinking Man's gonna have to take over here for a bit. So I tried a few different things to get this started. And the one thing that sort of worked was I just stood it up against the deck here on end, and then took the axe and chopped it. And I left the axe in here. I don't know if this is gonna work. I suspect it's not. Have I mentioned how windy it is? Holy crap. Oh yeah, I went to check out that birch tree over there that I thought was a birch tree. It's not. It's just a dead hardwood. All the bark is off it and it's bleached in the sun. It looks white. There you go. Yeah, it's not coming out very flat. I may have to like really sand it or something. For all these tools I have out here, these are the only two I seem to need right now. She's got a mighty twist in her now. Horrible twist. Well, splitting it didn't go too badly. But I think it's unusable with this twist in it. I think that's just... I don't think that's anything I did wrong either. I think that's just the natural twist of the wood. This side... I don't know, maybe I could bend it back? Ugh. I don't know. I went looking in the bush, and yeah, my camera's getting a bit wet and stuff. I found this birch tree that had been knocked over by another tree that had fallen down. I don't even know if you can hear me. That's the wind. Anyway, I'm not going to try and split this one. I'm just going to cut it to length and see if I can use it just the way it is. I have my doubts, but we'll try it. I have no idea how to do this. I have zero clue how I'm going to do this. No, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Bzz, bzz, bzz. I mean, drilling holes on an angle like that is really difficult. Guess I could start with a pilot hole. How do I hold it here? I don't know. So it just occurred to me that this angle is the same as this angle. So I could at least rest it here or take it right to the floor, as long as it's tight against the bottom one. And then I could drill my holes like that. Yeah. At some point, birch bark leaves a funny thing on your hands. At some point I'd have to come back with some clear coat. Nice. It was at this point that the project started spiraling out of control, as they usually do, and Russell has no clue what he is doing, as he usually does, but is carrying on anyway, blindly searching for impossible solutions to his dumb problems. Oh, come on. Ah, jeez. They do. that's not working at all. Look at it. That's not going to work at all. Ah, Russell. Now what? That's not going to work at all. It's the angle is so steep. Let's see how this side is really deep, and this side, there is no side on this side. So even if I went far enough in so that there was something on this side would be so deep, it would be like way up here on this board. I'd have to shave way up here. Ah, damn it. Last night, around 9 o'clock, I thought, screw it, I'm going to do this. It's kind of all or nothing at some point, where you got to glue and screw everything together. You can't just do a part of it and see if it's working. You kind of got to do the whole thing all at once. So, and I didn't film it because I had glue everywhere on my hands, and I was like 80% sure this was not going to work. So you kind of brace it at both ends, and then you glue a piece, you quickly put it in, screw it, do the next piece, glue it, and all ding, 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 all the way up. And I kept thinking, oh, it's wobbly, it's terrible, it's not going to work, and I was sure it wasn't going to work. But I left it overnight, and it is actually really solid. I'm really surprised. One thing is, somehow it's tilted a little bit this way. I'm not sure how that happened. Maybe when I was putting the pieces together and screwing, I was pushing a little too hard. I mean, it's not like horrible or anything. In fact, from this angle, it's hard to even tell. But yeah, it is still, and I'm not sure it matters. I mean, one of the things I noticed that pretty quickly last night that it was a little bit tilted, so I put a board up there and I put a clamp against it to try and push it back this way. And it did push it a little bit, but I have a feeling that as soon as I take that clamp off, it's going to go boing. A little bit anyway, not too much. But yeah, I'm sort of pleased how it came out. Now I was going to leave the bark on this railing. I was going to leave the bark on and then like clear coat it with something, like several layers of clear coat. But the bark, after all the work I've been doing on it, the bark was looking all kind of tattered and scraped and stuff, and I thought, you know what, screw it. And I took this outside and made a great big mess and took all the bark off. I actually kind of like this. I like some of the natural colors. Like there's a little bit of cambium left in there, and yeah, it's kind of got a nice color to it. So I'm gonna take a piece of sandpaper and just quickly go over it and make sure that there's no slivers on it or anything. But otherwise, I kind of like it. One of the things I was going to do last night is I was going to chop the top off of the railing because it sticks up pretty far past. And when I was putting it all together, I noticed because of that weight up there, it was kind of wobbling back and forth and making the whole thing wobble. And I thought, oh, I really got to cut that back. But this morning when I was coming down, I also noticed that the higher up that piece is, the better it is, because you want to grab that railing before you take that first step. So higher is better. So one of the things I'm going to test real soon is I'm going to lift this whole thing up as high as I want it to go. Sometimes I put it on that taller board over there, and we're going to see how far down that comes when I put this up. And that'll tell me where I have to cut it. If I can leave the whole thing on, I will do that. I didn't even take the bark off the end of the piece because I thought I was going to be cutting it there. But let's do that right now. Let's see how much I do have to take off. But yeah, otherwise, it's pretty damn steady. I think if anything, I could have made the spindles a bit longer, brought this up a little bit, but that would have made it a little less strong, a little weaker, I guess. And you don't really need it because, I mean, this is an easy grab for me here. And I think Alicia won't have any problems because she's shorter than me. But otherwise, yeah, I like that. And yes, I am working in my comfy pants. I want to be comfortable when I'm working inside. Heavier somehow. So I put it up on this board here, which is, what is it? Like, I don't know what that is, 6.5 feet or so. But I'm going to put it on one of these boards, which is actually 8 feet tall. Because I want to see, sometimes I might want it like way out of the way, not just, like this is the normal height for every day. I can come and go and I won't hit my head on this. So it's kind of the nice height there, but sometimes we want it further out of the way. So we're going to try that, but I need a little step stool. There it is. Well, that worked. It's not touching. In fact, it looks like the whole railing is parallel with the cat. Looks like the railing is parallel with the catwalk now. It's not even close to touching. So that's great. I don't have to cut anything off of it. I can just peel the bark off the end and done. The only thing I'm concerned with is that this is a lot of leverage up here. If you came along and you're started to fall and grabbed it here, you might just kind of rip it right out. It's too bad that you can't put one more up here. In fact, I could put one more here. I thought that would be in the way, but it's not. Damn it, Russell. I just create more work for myself. I'd really like to put one more piece up here just to give it a little bit more stability up top where it needs it. But the last thing I want to do right now is to take the chisel and start hammering it up here because I don't want to ruin the integrity of what I've got here. I don't want the glue to break anywhere. But what I can do, enter this piece here. So I was working on this piece yesterday and I was drilling pilot holes for the screws that go through them. essentially the screw goes through here. Can you see that? Through here and into the railing. But and this is the first piece I did. The pilot hole, I drilled it too small, and when I went to put the screw in, it split. Split right across the top, so this piece was useless to me. But what I'm thinking is, maybe what I can do is, so instead of chiseling a hole up here, I'll just cut this on the same angle as the railing, and then it'll just come up against the railing rather than going into the railing like the rest of these. It'll just come up against it, flush with it, and I'll glue it and screw it like that. That way this comes off, the top of this comes off where it's cracked. That's the idea anyway. I'll have to go to my mind palace and see if that works. My mind palace. So it's just today that I hooked up this thing. I wanted to try a winch on this. I thought it'd be pretty snazzy to have this raise and lower by winch. And I just did all this morning. It's kind of in a temporary fashion. I'll show you. I've got an eye bolt hooked up to the stringer down here. And mind you, I didn't film all this because I didn't know what I was doing. I had different ideas and I tried things and I took them apart, and anyway, this is the way it is, and I kind of like how it's set up right now, but there's some left to do, but I'll show you in a second. Anyway, we've got an eye bolt hooked into the stringer here, and this is just a winch cable coming from the winch through another bolt that's in the rafter up there with through a pulley down to here. So this is just a winch cable, standard winch cable, and then up top there, what I did was I screwed a 2x6 board down on top, and I think that's actually a 2x8 board on top, and I blocked it underneath with a 2x6 board, and then the winch is bolted in there, and it's not straight edge it's not parallel to the eye joist. It's actually off a little bit because it's got to be straight to the pulley. In fact, it's still not quite centered, and I should center that a bit more. Originally, I wanted to mount the winch up there where the pulley is. And I thought about it just this morning. I thought about it and thought, why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense because then I got to deal with all the crap over there. Like the wires go into a block, and then from the block the wires go into the winch, and I don't want to get into it. And then I'd have to run the remote cable across the ceiling down. This is so much easier just to have a pulley up there. But anyway, one thing I want to show you. I have tested it and it does work, but I want to show you there is one problem. So I've got the remote here. Here we go. I don't know. Can you tell? Yeah, she's loud. Oh my God, she's loud. Whoa. So cheers, everybody. I'm having a Lyman lager. Waited 2 months for this. And that's great. One thing I forgot to mention is I'm using my jump starter battery up there. It's usually used for cars. Like you put in the trunk of your car and you keep it for emergencies if your battery dies. It's really easy to hook up. Really simple. That's the sort of thing it's made for. Not made for this, obviously, but it is a good temporary solution because I don't have to have it plugged in. It can just sit there and run the winch. Eventually, if I tie into the wiring here, I actually got a couple of options. Right now, the remote control is coming down here, but I could plug it in. I could put an outlet up there and plug it in there, and then use those remote control switches to go up and down, which would be kind of cool. Obviously, this is not a good long-term solution because I use that jump start battery. I use it for sharpening the chainsaw for whatever reason. For whatever reason, because I don't have a better good reason. Oh. Anyway, if the battery goes low in that thing, I can also just run an extension cord up there and plug it in and charge it up. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to see if I can do something with the sound. I might be able to build like a soundproof box around it. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to mention is, well, first I wanted to put the winch on the ceiling. And that was, I don't know why I thought about that, but everything would have been up there. It would have been a real pain in the butt to kind of deal with all the crap. Putting a pulley up there is just so much easier. And then the other thing, I thought I would put it on that side because it would actually be a little closer to the pulley. But that area over there, the ceiling and the wall are all closed up with pine right now. So it'd be really difficult to run any wires. Here, not so hard. I could actually put the remote wiring through the wall there. I'd have to run it behind the pine, but not that hard. I could do it. But anyway, I gotta see. I might just go back to my first plan, which was to put a pulley, or sorry, well, there is a pulley, a weight system here, and we just easily lift it up and down by hand. I don't know. That might be the best option. Anyway, thanks for following along, guys, and watching this video, and watching it to the end. I really appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you can. That really helps with the YouTube algorithms. And leave a comment. As I've always said, I read everyone, every comment that's given. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for this video. My cabin life, day in the life of video will come out Friday morning. It's mostly all filmed. I did it on Sunday with Alicia. She was in it. And we live stream every Friday evening from 8 p.m. till midnight Eastern Standard. So be sure to check that out as well. And we'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace out.